Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Dr. Firasat Hussain, Assistant Professor in the Department of Microbiology. Today I am going to present about the Sphingobacterium Soli species that is a novel species and isolated from the soil. The Sphingobacterium Soli. The Sphingobacterium Soli that is belong to the Sphingobacteriaceae family, and the Sphingobacteriaceae family have 39 validated species, and the novel candidate that I was isolated is the Sphingobacterium Soli, and it is isolated from the soil in the China. And for characterization, the polyphyletic taxonomy was performed. Sampling site, isolation and culturing. Sampling site from the tobacco farm soil that was in China, isolated these bacteria, and the soil, first of all we took the soil sample from there, then isolate from that, and the media that was used for this bacteria is R2A agar media and incubated 28 degrees centigrade. And the new species date was isolated, and initially I gave the name Yim X0211. That was the new species. And as a reference strain or type strain, I used the Sphingobacterium musathae. The shape of this bacteria is a rod shape, and its size is 0.5 to 0.6 multiplied by 1.2 micrometer. Gram staining was performed, and it was negative bacteria. This bacteria is strictly aerobic, non-motile, and non-spore forming bacteria. The appearance of the colony is yellowish, smooth, convex colony. From here we can see biochemical and physiological characterization. So the Sphingobacterium that I was isolated is actually, this was antibiotic resistance. The resistance to a multiple antibiotic except ciprofloxacin. It means that it resistant to different antibiotics. The growth range means that the temperature. So I grow it from different temperature, like I started from 5 degrees centigrade, 10, 15, and different interval. And that different interval is range between from 10 to 37 degrees centigrade, and the optimum growth was 30 degrees centigrade. I also check the pH and the sodium tolerance, that on how much pH it can grow and how much sodium chloride that it will be grow. So the pH that it can grow is from 5 to 9, and the sodium chloride that I provided from 0 to 5%, and it grow from 0 to 5% sodium chloride. When it compare with their type strain, the Yim X0211 was Sphingobacterium musathae, because this was the reference strain. I perform all these experiment together, these strain, because this was a reference strain and this was my. So the color of the new isolate was yellowish, while the color of the Sphingobacterium musathae was slightly yellowish. The pH range, the novel candidate, the pH range is 5 to 9, and while the musathae reference strain, the pH range is 5 to 8. While the sodium chloride concentration, the sodium chloride tolerance, that the novel candidate can grow from 0 to 5% in the presence of the sodium chloride, while the Sphingobacterium musathae was only can grow from 0 to 5% sodium chloride. Perform the different biochemical test. So the novel candidate was glucose fermentative was positive, while the Sphingobacterium mosaici was negative. API enzyme, API in Zym enzymes, that was a trypsin alpha beta galactosidase present, while in the reference strain or mosaici, Sphingobacterium mosaici, it was absent. The GC content was the novel candidate have 41.2% the GC content, while the reference strain have 39.3% GC content. Chemo, chemotaxonomic characterization, the GC content was 41.2 mole percent. The major fatty acid was major fatty acid, while these are the major polylipid that was present in the novel candidate, that phosphatidyl amine, sphingolipid, and unknown phospholipid. These were present, and the respiratory quinine, that was menaquinine, was 7 MK7 was present. For the molecular characterization or phylogenetic analysis result, perform the 16S ribosomal RNA, that is 1580 base pair sequence, and it was closely related to the Sphingobacterium mosaici, that was the similarity rate is 97.93 similarity, while the GC DNA hybridization, DNA relatedness was 42.3%, that was below from 70%, so we can claim that it is novel candidate. And this is the phylogenetic tree, that was the new isolate, and that was the Sphingobacterium mosaici, that was the reference state that I performed these all experiments with this reference strain. The species description, if we goes to the summary, so name and type stem, then we gave that Sphingobacterium Soli gave the name because it was isolated from the soil, so we gave the Sphingobacterium Soli name to this novel candidate, and it was isolated from the soil from Yunnan province, that in China. And for characterization, different phenotypic and genotypic differentiation was confirmed. Thank you.